Over time, it's a good problem. Yeah, are you just gonna redo them?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the first bid I got was 53 nights.
Not surprisingly.
You all too.
I know.
I'm going to Mexico next.
So
You are? Yeah, but I'm not gonna get it again.
Yeah.
Oh, there's my baby. That's me. I burned. You burned it. I hope so.
Okay, awesome. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll start off with our vendors. We'll go to the line. Derek, why don't we start with you?
All right, Derek Cheney, homeowner.
Hey guys, just a reminder, we can hear you through the speakers if you're having other conversations. Thank you. Sorry, Derek, go ahead.
Derek Cheney, home loan expert with Mid-Missouri Bank. I'm here for all your home loan needs.
Awesome. Line, Jess, Christina.
Hi, I'm Jess Bowman, Bowman Insurance Group. We're an independent broker, here to help with any and all insurance needs, and we appreciate you guys.
Hi, I'm Christina Ferrante with 417 Home Loans. I'm a senior mortgage banker. Something I wanted to share today that we just found out yesterday is that we know that October 1st, USDA is changing, right? But as long as a file is locked and disclosed by October 1st, you can still buy in Nixa, Ozark, and Republic. So keep pushing the USDA for those areas.
Go to line. Perfect, thank you. No,
Oh, sorry,
go ahead. No, well, yeah.
Okay, Cindy and Christy, the GAT girls from Great American Title, here to serve your every title and escrow need. And remember, we've got 16 locations throughout the Ozarks, guys. You're not alone when you're up in Camdenton and you're all the way up Monette and all the other little podunk towns around Springfield. We're there to help you and hold your hand and get you through it. Cindy did Great American, Christy did Great American.
Okay, Stacy, Legal Land.
Stacy, Legal Land Title, we can help with all your closing needs as well, and we're just right behind the building.
Alex.
everyone, Alex Costas, Community Mortgage Brokers. Always love seeing everyone's faces and looking forward to hearing from you.
Okay, cool. Didn't miss anybody? Anybody online that I need to hear from? Cool. Nope. Okay, cool. Awesome. So we had step 4 yesterday at Bold. We wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsors. So Cutco, who Bryant McFarland actually traveled from Whitefish, Montana to be at Bold. So I don't know if you know, Brian's been our Cutco rep for a long time, and him and his wife moved to Whitefish and he made the trip in just to be for Bold. So Legal Land Title, thank you for lunch yesterday. And then Land Voice, Darren had traveled in as well. So thank you guys so much. Something's not communicating with that screen, and that's okay. So on KW Red Label, they do have a lot of KW swag. So when we come back from family reunion or mega camp, we normally have our new t-shirt designs. Those are available there. You can get Bold, you can get MAPS coaching. So that's all available for you. So then last week we had the Mariah Shepherd as our Culture Award winner. And so this week, let me pull up what they had said about this person. Okay. So this week's winner is Nicole Rice, which I don't think she is here. So that's a bummer. Okay. Wow, that's very dark gray. Okay. So Mariah had said she is picking Nicole Rice because after Bold last week, Nicole had let her shadow her, which she was super thankful for and very welcoming. So for those of you that want to send Nicole a message, let me get Nicole's phone number. It is 417-598-1172. 417-598-1172 and tell Nicole congratulations. She will get our wonderful Steffes Award traveling trophy and the little army bin to go with it. So congratulations. So how many of you came to our Hispanic Heritage Celebration on Friday? How fun was that?
Amazing.
So shout out to Maria and the rest of our cultural committee for getting that going. I think we had, this year was a little bit more spread out, but we had over 200 people there. A lot of delicious food. Thank you so much for our sponsors that were there to be a part of it. Maria, do you have anything you want to say about that, or maybe what to expect for next year?
We've already announced our date for next year. It's going to be September 13th. We're still keeping it on a Friday. We're just debating if we're going to keep it at the same time or start it a little bit later to give people time to get there. But yeah, we're already, if you guys are interested in getting involved and getting some information, just let one of us know and we'll get you guys started. We just wanted to lock in our date
well in advance.
Yeah.
I just want to say that Maria was the best MC, like, she is so good at hosting, like, she just ran it all night, and she did such a good job.
The funniest part is like when you travel to locations and you're there for a little bit, you kind of get a little bit maybe of the twang or something like that. By the end of the night, I had like this Hispanic Spanish like twang. Maria, I was calling her like Maria or something. I'm like, what am I doing? Like halfway through the night. So funny. But yeah, it was an amazing event, and funny enough, the adults love the piñatas more than the kids.
Yeah.
So I guess next year we're gonna have to have a lot more adult piñatas. I mean, and if there was one kid there, he had a piñata full of candy, young entrepreneur, because then he was going to everybody offering it for a quarter. So. Oh, no, yeah, he went up to me and said, "You want to buy it for a quarter?" And Trey was like, "What? Quarter?" I was holding the piñata. So it was a lot of fun. So shout out to them for doing that. So now we have our broker moment. Jim, do you have anything that you would like to share with us?
Jim.
Me?
Yes,
Hey.
welcome.
I was in the middle of something important, I'm sure. I have had less mutual releases, so I'm really excited about that. I don't know what's changed, maybe we have less transactions.
Yeah,
But I've had less to sign, one today, none yesterday, and that's really positive. Also, if you're in bold, please remember all the rules about calling people and check to see if it's listed first before you do that, because I don't want to have to answer that call either.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, cool.
Don has a lot more, but he's not here.
Don does, yeah. There's been an uptick in broker calls we've seen, not just here, but Don and I know Jim have talked to other brokers at either here locally or other KW offices, and they've seen a big uptick in that. So, and I know whenever we had Lowther Johnson here, she had said that, Megan Grisson had said, clients are becoming more litigious than ever. So make sure you're always dotting your I's and crossing your T's for that.
Yeah, and then last thing, you know, the one serious issue that was confronted yesterday was a possession prior. Where somebody had moved into the house, had been there a month at least, they've already done renovations, now they've decided that the seller misled them on something, you know? I think it was square footage, but I don't think that's the real reason. They found out there was a sewage plant close to their house and things like that. You know, possession prior is always bad.
Amen, brother.
That's a part.
So do possession, if you're gonna do possession prior, you know, I'd charge them, number one. Number two, it would be as is at that point. And, you know, make it very clear that, you know, everything's done and it's up to them now and there's no termination. And there's really not in this case either. They can argue about the square footage, but the size of the house certainly hadn't changed since they've been living in it. You know, but that was their complaint, but possession prior is always bad unless it's limited possession prior to closing. Like if you want a garage space to put boxes in and things like that, that's fine. I think that's great. If you're selling a farm property, you're always going to need limited possession prior for equipment and gates and cattle and horses or whatever it might be. Anyhow, that's my warning for today on that one. So don't do possession prior unless you have to.
Okay, good. So how's the market? So Mike posts these every Monday. So it looks like this week we had 24 homes that went pending in 1 day or less. Last week we had 41. As we're looking at SOMO, BOR, my goodness, East counties and North counties, looking at the breakout of that. We'll go then to the difference within, from GSBOR from last week to this week, and then we'll go to our active listings. So as of Monday, we had 1,361. That is the 7th week we've had an increase in our listings, which is the longest stint we have seen in a long time. And I don't know about you all, but in the last 3 weeks, the market has really changed in terms of homes sitting on the market, how many people are going to view it, how many days does it take for a contract to actually be submitted? So even if you brought a client and you had an expectation conversation with them 3 weeks ago, a month, and you're still looking for homes, maybe it's time to sit back down and have another expectation conversation, because I think we're gonna have a lot more of that where especially sellers or buyers are gonna have to understand the different changings of the market and what needs to happen. So we will now hit for You got this email from GSBOR, notice of the field change, and when you log into Flex, it should pop up. So this was in the weekly email. Now, starting Monday, list price or in the finished square foot field will recalculate and be renamed to list price total square feet. Has some examples on that, but this was in your GSBOR email that you received. Safety through situational awareness, GSBOR, they have a class on that. We'll touch more on that today with Elise. Be Safe app. So this is an app that is provided by GSBOR for all agents. So if my recommendation is if you're not using this app, that's okay. Just have an app that you're using that communicates with people that if something is happening, they can get to you. So whether it is Life 360, or maybe it's Find My Friends on iPhone, or even if you have an Apple device, I'm pretty sure if you click one of the side buttons 5 times, it will pop up for an emergency call to the people that you have listed. Whatever you're using, just use something. This is provided by the board for free. So if you don't have an app, look into this and let us know. I know ambassadors for GSBOR, we actually had conversations around this last week. So we have some information around Be Safe if you have any questions for it. The GSBOR is having their Halloween party Friday, October 20th. All of the proceeds will benefit the Our Care Fund, which was the Leadership Academies project last year for, I think you get 3 sessions for counseling for all agents for free. That's covered through this fund. So if you guys have any questions or want to take advantage of those sessions, please reach out to somebody at the GSBOR for more information. So here we are in September. Can't believe it's almost October. So if someone has their phone, can you please turn it on silent? I think it's, okay.
That was me that time,
Okay,
I'm sorry.
got it. No worries. No worries. So I have a lot of training coming up. We're finalizing Bold. For those of you in Bold, next Tuesday, KWRI is actually bringing a videography team to come down and shoot new content for Bold. Because we are the largest launch, they are wanting to come and get new content that they can start promoting Bold. So maybe next Tuesday, it's not the day that we look dressed down because you're all gonna be on camera. Just giving you all the warnings so no one said, hey, I wasn't told. So then next week we have Jordan Freed. There is still room to sign up for this training. Jordan was here last year. This will be at the GSBOR. And there, Nicole will put a sign up link. You can get it through the Facebook page as well. If you attended Jordan last year, you do get a discount for attending next year. One of the things I will say about Jordan, if any of you are having questions on what your purpose is right now or how to navigate this, this is the class for you. Why real estate? Why am I doing what I'm doing? You write a 10-year letter for yourself, and it honestly is one of the most impactful exercises that I've been through. And this is kudos to Jordan in his class. So we have that coming up. On to the next. So we are starting our new series, Fall in Love with Real Estate. We did our summer series of learning. Now we're into fall. Today we'll have Safety with Elise. We will not have a team meeting next week. And then as you can see, this is ALC. We're going to start those conversations for next year. Adam and Carrie will be hosting a team meeting. We'll have like USDA, MHDC updates, and then October 24th, tax strategies. We're going to bring in a tax professional and a tax strategist to come in and tell you as a real estate agent, what are the things you should be taking advantage of as we're getting towards tax time. It's always a good thing to start now. Jordan Freed, we touched on that. There's a QR code at the bottom if you need to take a picture, but this is a flyer we have created for him. GSBOR has their annual meeting Thursday, September 28th. It's in your weekly email. So our region, this is the first time they're doing it. They're putting on a Greater Heartland Summit. So this is open to all KW agents and even non-KW if you want to attend. This will be in Branson. How they are phrasing this will be a mini mega camp. So I'm super excited since this is the first time they're offering it, and since it's in Branson. It's right up the road. And if you want to stay there, it will be at the Branson Convention Center. Sunday night will be more of a welcome party, get to know everybody. Then we'll have speakers. Our regional director, Jordan Freed, will be there. Smokey Garrett, who owns the largest market centers. I think he's an OP in 14, and together his conglomerate is like over 4,000 agents. He's also our regional operating partner as well, so he'll be there speaking too, and he's in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then Sam Goodwin as well. So get signed up. It's $249 for the 2.5 days worth of series, and it will be in Branson. Family reunion registration is open. We are going to Vegas. So for those of you that have never been to an event, we'd love for you to attend. And you have to wear a backpack with a little leash on it if y'all want to get to all the sessions. So just kidding, you don't have to do that. It is like herding cats though at times. That's fair. Nicole, what tech times do you have for us?
Yeah, so Rachel actually posted this morning that we are getting new websites for all of the agents. And the awesome thing is that there's plenty of trainings for you from our KWRI tech training team. They are putting on a bunch of trainings this week to get you ready for that new site. I will also be teaching a training next week. So come to that if you want one-on-one help with me. But there is also other leverage items as well that are through the tech training team. But really exciting. There's blog posts that are going to be incorporated with your new websites. There's a little bit more design aspects and features, listings, all kinds of things, the things that you guys have all been asking for. So really exciting. That is live now.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, so this week's focus, realtor safety.
That's me.
That's Elise. Oh my God. So I'm sure if you guys haven't seen, Elise and I shot a video yesterday for some safety tips to get people here. The one thing is, it's funny to shoot that video, but this truly is a serious topic. It's something that you have to always be cautious for. And so I'm excited to hear from Elise's perspective and hopefully it help educate. September is Realtor Safety Month. But it's one of those things that you'd rather be safe than sorry, and you never know until you're in that instance how you're going to react and what's going to happen. So the more you can educate yourself around this and be aware of what to do, hopefully, and when your fight or flight kicks in, you know what to do based on the training you've been a part of. So I'm super excited. Do you have slides or are you just talking? Okay, cool.
Why do you look at me?
Who else would you look at? Come on, Bethany.
I'm like, I don't know, do I? Did you send any slides?
I'm gonna stop sharing.
Pause that.
real quick.
Gonna give like people like, so I don't know why she's moving that back. I'm not gonna slide. Like, I'm not gonna do
There is?
anything. There's not gonna be anything hands-on, so she's probably moving the table in between her and I. Cause she's like, please
Yeah.
don't put me in a trunk again.
Yeah, I had people say like, oh, she got in really easily. I'm like, yeah, you kind of like, you used to play rugby. I know, I'm not.
I'm like, I don't know why people are more intimidated by the fact that I played rugby or because I was a cop, but the thing is.
So Elise did have some highlights, sorry, thank you. Former Greene County Sheriff Office Deputy. She was commissioned from 2010 to 2021. Former military, she served in the Army branch. She is a bourbon enthusiast, which we all know. This could be a hot topic, not sure, but she is team no top sheet for betting.
Okay.
So apparently that is a hot topic.
So I did her slide.
So you did, yeah, you said this, very good.
Yeah, awesome.
I tell people a lot of times that the reason that I became a real estate agent after being a cop is because I wanted to be able to get into people's homes without a warrant.
That's cool.
Sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I should say that out loud, so. This is being recorded, right?
Yeah, you bet.
I was a deputy with the Greene County Sheriff's Office, like she said, for 12 years. I recently let it go because I was a reserve deputy and I would go in and I didn't get paid for it, but it was a lot of fun and I really did truly love serving my community. But when my wife was pregnant with our second child, I was going in to help relieve someone that was on shift for a long time because they were hunting a fugitive that had shot at deputies. And so my wife was like, hey, I think this is gonna be your last time. So she's like, I think that's the last time you leave our house to go do something for free like that. But it was one of the highlights of my life. I loved serving. I do feel like I'm still able to serve people in this capacity. We just do it in a different way. You know, we're helping people with a very large transaction. Also, I love to make sure people know, are you getting into a piece of crap or a safe home? You know, is this gonna fall down on you? So we still have a lot of things that we can do to help people protect themselves when we're protecting our clients. This class in particular, I don't really care about the clients right now. I'm making sure we do what we can to protect you. So a lot of times we get those calls a lot of times and it's exciting because someone says, hey, I saw your listing, or hey, I saw this listing. I looked up real estate agents online, or I talked to a friend or so-and-so and they gave me your number. So just hoping that I can go and see this house. And it happens to be $300,000, they're cash buyer and they're ready to go right now. Cool. I'm like, yeah, let's go show that. But we have no idea who they are. And this has happened in our area. This usually happens about once a year in our area, where we see posts on the GSVOR Facebook page,
hey, heads up, if you get a call from this number, I got some red flags. And so we have to keep things in mind where, does this seem like someone that I can vet really quickly? And if so, how do I do that? There's a couple of options. There's truepeoplesearch.com. On that website, you can do a reverse phone number. So you can actually check to see if a phone number is like from a drop phone, someone that they just created. It doesn't go back to anybody. It doesn't have any history. If it's like, this is not, we can't find any information on it, it's probably a fake number. So keep that in mind.
What's it called?
truepeoplesearch.com. There's actually a couple variations of that. So if you type in something like Fast People Search is another one. Like I said, there's a couple of variations. But get their name, and when you're on the phone with them, you have to make sure that you're also verifying who they say they are. If they give you, my name is Matt Smith, awesome, you're one of many. What's your middle initial? Because then if they're like, anytime someone hesitates to give you something that they should tell you, they should know right off the bat, that's a big red flag. When I would go to pull someone over and they're like, sorry, I don't have my ID on me. Oh, that's okay. What's your first, middle, and last name, date of birth? And then I'm like, cool, what's your social? And they're like, so I'm like, I know it's a lot of numbers, but we all know we're social. Everybody knows their social. So I had someone one time, he's like, I actually don't know my social, but I do know my DOC number, and DOC stands for Department of Corrections. So I was like, okay, yeah. He's like, just tell me who your P&P officer is, man. We'll just shortcut this right. So that's just a couple tips and tricks from just right away. Does anyone have any questions about that, or like incoming calls? Has anyone experienced anything like that? Normally I get someone that says, yes, I have. So it's interesting in the back, and then I'll get to you, Tim. You've experienced that?
Yeah, I mean, and I have like a whole other deal where I have to testify in a case where a guy killed his wife. I was showing him houses earlier that day.
You were what?
Showing him houses earlier that day.
And he killed his wife?
Allegedly.
Oh, you have to testify, yeah, so allegedly, apparently.
So he never have been to court for it. They just keep putting it off.
Yeah,
and putting
which
it
they'll
off.
do. Good luck.
Yeah, it's like that.
Did Timmy cut that?
And then it was.
I think if you're in the business long enough, you won't run into weirdness.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't matter who you are, how old you are, or anything. And what I've learned on weirdness is just walk away.
Yeah.
I got
You don't
enough
trust it,
to
you can't
do
verify it?
besides decide whether or not you're a real person who's really involved.
Nothing's worth the risk that you're not gonna go home.
Right.
Amy.
So I've had two situations where it was someone I didn't know. One was referred to me by someone, but because of the situation, I knew it could be dangerous.
Okay.
So in both cases, they both transacted.
Uh-huh.
But because they were real people, they didn't hesitate when I asked them for things. Both
Yeah.
of them, I asked them for their driver's license. One of them, I took my husband with me, and the other one, I had him meet me here. I created a full itinerary. I took a picture of his driver's license and I handed it to the front desk and I said, this is just our safety policy.
Perfect, because then they know now.
Yeah.
And now they're fully aware that
Everybody knows.
if you
where
go
we're
missing,
going.
who's number one on that checklist, it's gonna be them.
And, and because they were real, they didn't hesitate.
Exactly.
Like you said, if they're not real, they'll hesitate.
So we have a program, and this is a KW program, this exclusive program, it's called the LGBT Housing Initiative. I can get into the details with people if you want to know about it. It's an awesome program, but it does give people money back, just like the Homes for Heroes program. So I donate a portion of my commission back to people who are in the community. And so they get a chunk of money at the end of the transaction. We had someone call and he wanted to go see a $500,000 property. And actually you and Christina looked him up and we're like, this guy is sketch as hell. So, and he had a DOC number. Like he was on probation, he was on parole, actually.
Yeah, and he was denied by his real estate license.
Right, he also has a sign of like, one of those like side of the road signs.
Adopted by
This guy who's a real estate agent, but he's not a real estate agent because he's also a felon and can't have a license. But he tried to get, yep. Kester doesn't like when people say names, so I'll avoid that out loud.
That's all right.
You know, but so
What
he
does it
wanted
rhyme
us,
with?
he wanted us to go and show the house, because he was hoping that he would be able to go through with this program and he would get that chunk of money. What he didn't realize is I have to get paid first. So he has to be able to qualify to buy the home. And then when we said, hey, absolutely, we would love to show you the home. We don't do any showings until we meet you in person. So you'll have to come to our office first. We set a buyer's consultation. He scheduled it. We waited for him and he never showed up. So, because he's a scam artist. That's one of his favorite things to do, and he's still out there doing it, so.
In the
anyway.
perfect world, you would schedule a time for them to come into the office where at a time where we're open and people are around.
Correct.
And I also know that there are times people call and it's not as realistic, right? And so in that situation, if you get a call, you need to call somebody else and let them know where you're going, share your location, even if it's just for a temporary amount. And I hear a lot of the times of people saying, well, I'm not on a team. You are a part of a team. You're here at this brokerage. And there have been multiple times people have posted on the internal page saying, hey, I'm going to this place. Can anybody meet me? And within 5 minutes, you have 10 people saying, yes, I'll be there. What's the address? So don't ever feel like if you're not on a team, you don't have the support or people that care about you and where you're at. So just make sure you're aware of that anybody is willing to help you. You just have to tell us and we'll be there.
Yeah, so, and we've had it before too, where someone posted on the internal page and say, hey, I'm at a showing. There's a bunch of people here that I didn't anticipate. Can someone come and meet me? And there were people that were literally like 5 cars.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was Cassie.
Yeah, that's right.
And within minutes, Trey and I were both there on location.
Right, so you always you always have that support, you always have people that are gonna be there. So a couple of things I highlighted that I definitely wanna make sure that I mention is don't be too public. You know, a lot of people think that real estate agents, we're an easy target because people think, okay, it's this amount of money. If they say I sold $1 million, you know, worth of volume, they know that you got 30 grand. Cause they're like, okay, you know, 3% of that. So people are constantly thinking we are making tons of money hand over fist, and yes, of course we are. But the reality is we have that's really not the reality of what's going on here. We have so many, you know, we can go through all, you guys know.
What is one of the main instances that realtors may be too public that puts them in danger?
Showing off, just showing off and like saying like if people who are like, hey, look at the new BMW I just rolled up in, you know, they want to find the agents that are driving the nicest cars that aren't wearing just the Apple Watch or anything. They're wearing like, look at my fancy watch, or they're, you know, if you have a public page for your real estate page and your headshot is just like standing there next to your car, look at me, look how cool I am, look on my swag. That's probably not how people post. So those are the things, like so that's something that when you do that and you're putting yourself out there, you are creating a target, you're creating a scenario that's making you become a target.
One of the things I think about is open houses.
Absolutely, so.
Okay, yep.
Open houses, it ain't over till it's over. So don't anticipate, especially if you have a really busy open house and you have a bunch of people that have come in, don't assume that everyone's left. I've walked through an open house and it was a walkout basement home and someone was downstairs, just lost track of time and they were texting on their phone. And I was like, hey man, the open house is over. What are you doing here? You know, but he was just like, oh yeah, sorry. I'm like, you gotta go. But it was a weird thing. I'm like, why is he still here? Just like hanging out super quiet. I didn't know. He was just kind of somebody that I think was wasting time. He wasn't even a real buyer, but that's what set me off. Like, why are you even here, man? So you have to make sure you're aware of how many people are coming in. And also in different areas of the country, at the very end of open houses, they're getting rushed with a bunch of people that are coming in. And now you have 8 people in your open house and you're like, 2 people sign in and they're talking to you. So you have 2 people that are talking to you and you're engaged because you're like, oh my God, I might have a buyer. This is amazing. It's the very end and this is actually going to work. You have 6 other people that are looking for stuff to take. So you have to be aware of all of it's the full scenario that you have to keep in mind and just try and remember. So when you're going out on a showing, let someone know. Don't just take a call and say, yeah, it's my listing. I'm absolutely going to show it. People know it's my listing. They'll probably check on me. Don't assume people are going to check on you. Schedule a time ahead of time. If you don't know it, it's a cold lead. Have them come into the office, get a copy of their information. If they stand you up, don't be sad. Just know that you probably avoided a potential scenario. If they stand you up, now they're not answering any of your phone calls. It's not a loss because it was never going to be business in the first place if they stood you up to begin with. When you park in a driveway, if you have no other option, you have to park in a driveway. Couple options. You can park all the way on the left-hand side so that way the person doesn't have the ability to come in and block the driver's side door by parking too close to you. You can also back in. I know some people aren't comfortable with that, or you make fun of me for backing in because it's a cop thing to do. Or, you know, people think you're better than everyone else because you know how to back in a car. But if you back it in on the right-hand side when you're facing the driveway, you're likely closest to the front door in most floor plan scenarios. So that way, if you need an easy escape route or something that's fast, it's right there. Okay. Also, make sure when you're going through a house, look through the pictures, make sure you know how to get out. If there's a garage door, if there's a back door, if there's only one back door that you have to go through the garage to get to, just keep in mind that you have to know how to get out. When someone is going and you open a lockbox, we open the lockbox, we're all standing there, it's super awkward, you're like, yeah, they really should have cleaned this place up, you know, and then you open the door and you're like, okay, go ahead and go on in. Most gentlemen will say, no, after you. And especially women, they automatically like say, yes, okay. And also women question their gut, because we've been taught to. He's nice, he's been really sweet, he's got a really great smile, well, so did Ted Bundy.
I was gonna say.
Right, well, it's always Ted Bundy, he's a great snare, he's a great comparison. So if you're going in the house and they're like, you don't have to say things like, after you, or go ahead. I would say things like, go ahead and go on in, I'm gonna put the key back in the lockbox, so go ahead and go on in, because now I have to get around you. And if it's someone, I had a guy, Christina and I, he called us, he wanted us to show a house. I was like, this guy is not for real. We go, he shows up, and I was like, go ahead and go on in. He's like, no, after you, ma'am. And I said, no, I don't know you. Like, I just straight up was like, I don't know you, so I don't walk in the buildings first. After you, sir. And he said, well, you're kind of making me uncomfortable. I'm like,
So are you.
Now you're making me uncomfortable by saying that, yeah.
why are you so uncomfortable? So, when you have a new client, again, always ask them to come in. If anybody has an iPhone, I try and tell people this a lot, but sometimes I feel like it goes to the wayside. If you go to your settings app in your iPhone and you scroll down, there is something that says emergency SOS. All you have to do is hit it. There's a couple of options. You can have both of them on. You can hold the call, you can hold and release the two top buttons. If you hold and release those, but you hold it, it says the instructions here, it'll automatically start an SOS. If you hold the call, press the call button 5 times, if you rapidly press the side button 5 times, a countdown begins and an alarm will sound.
Or you can turn the alarm off if you.
Is this because of an app? This is just on your phone?
Just on your iPhone.
You don't actually want to call it.
If you don't have an iPhone, we'll have to find out a Droid solution.
I don't have that with me.
It's on Android as well.
Okay, cool. So, sorry, Android users, you're important too. Green. You and your green button.
You and your
Bubbles.
green messages.
So, that's really the tips that I had. Again, parking in the street is also one of a really good scenario. Just park in the street if you don't know if you're able to, because no one can block you in. If you pull in, it's a two-way driveway and you park and you give them enough room and they park right behind you, that's weird. Call for someone to come and see you. Call for someone to come and join you, or just say, hey, this is the first time we're meeting, or this is the second time we're meeting. Can, you know, in case I say stuff, I blame my kids all the time. I'm like, hey, my kid has got a really bad cough, so they may ask me to come and pick him up any minute, so I need you to move your car. So don't walk in the house until they move their car, or don't walk in the house. Yes, Jim.
I like the 15-second rule.
I was teaching her how to do the thing.
I'm trying to save your life. I like the 15-second rule especially in the winter, because it gets dark slow. So you pull up in front of a house. I love the idea of the street versus the driveway. You pull up in front of the house, but you take 15 seconds before you get out of the car. Not to fix your makeup or, you know, adjust your beard, but to actually look around and see what your environment looks like around you. And I mean, it's 15 seconds is all it is, but I use it myself because, you know, there might be some other danger out there, you know, whether it be dogs, neighbors, whatever. And then the other thing, if you ever have to leave the house, screw the car. You know,
Yeah, just run.
just run like hell. You know, I mean, you can come back and get the car, but if you run to the car, there's still an opportunity for somebody to gather you in and take care of you, knock in the head, whatever it might be.
Yeah, if you don't have an actual gap between them, then just keep running, just keep running and make a huge fuss. People who are trying to commit a crime of opportunity and they're trying to create their own opportunity, they don't want to have a fighting victim. So if they can grab, a lot of times, again, with women, because women tend to be the main victim of this type of crime, they're gonna grab your hair, they're gonna grab whatever they can, your blouse, just to try and get you. So don't just be an easy victim. Like, just kick, scream, fight your way out, go for the eyes. You also know where to kick gentlemen. Sorry, guys.
And then don't get in the car.
So let's talk about like,
Ever let yourself get in someone else's car, ever.
You're gonna die.
so you're in the situation. What are the things? So, okay, we go into this situation, we saw red flags, maybe we ignored them. What should we do if we're in that situation? You kind of said like kick, scream. Is there anything else that you would recommend?
Everything is a weapon. Everything is a weapon. Anything that you can get your hands on is a weapon. Anything on their person can then become a weapon. And the thing that we always learn, and we're learning the same thing in BOLD, which I love the comparables. In law enforcement, you don't rise to the occasion of anything. You never do. You'll never rise to the occasion. Sorry for all of your coaches that told you that you would. You fall to the level of your training. You will fall to whatever your default is. So don't think, if I get in this scenario, I can probably overcome it. Plan it. When I would go to calls and they were high priority calls with violence involved, I would role play in my head. This is what I'm gonna do when I arrive. These are the things, and I would think of worst case scenarios. And so that way, when I got there, hopefully it wasn't nearly as bad as the call was saying it was when I got there. So you will fall to the level of what your default reaction is going to be. So prepare yourself for what it could be. If they grab you by the hair, just throw your thumbs inside their eyes and just take their eyes out of their head, whatever you need to do. But like, as violent as you think you can get worse. And I know that sounds kind of, extreme, but if you don't think of it that way, you're not gonna plan for it. And then you're gonna be put off, shocked, and you can't react when you're shocked. And you become a victim of a crime that you could have possibly fought your way out of, because fighting victims and loud victims might not actually become victims. Yes.
So I trained my team about this. We actually talked about it last month. And one of the things that I think was the biggest aha to them was just simply the fact that open houses and showing to people that you don't know, that's where 90% of this happens. And I told them, when you're showing a house to someone that you don't know, just if you're meeting this person there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, book the showing for 1:45 and then get there 10, 15 minutes early, because you're probably gonna have to turn all the lights anyway.
Great idea.
You don't want to walk into a dark basement with somebody. And unlock all the doors throughout the entire house.
Yep.
Because then if you have to run out, if they chase you down the basement and you've already been there and turned on the lights, you know where that back door is, you know it's unlocked, and just run.
Yeah.
And so just not having to deal with unlocking the door on the way out the house or knowing where the exits are is half the battle.
Some people carry a pen in their hand too, so that way if you do have to fight hand to hand, you have a pen, and a pen is a very sharp object. Lee.
I learned that never, ever let the people get behind you.
Absolutely. Don't turn your back to people.
Ever let the people get behind you, no matter what. And if they're going downstairs or something like that, if there's a basement, let them go down first. You don't go down first. You do
Never.
not let those people, and don't let one person stay with you and another person go somewhere else.
Absolutely.
That's, I've seen that happen lots of times.
Something I heard when I first started that I now check religiously all along the same lines of all of this and with open houses is there was an agent who had an open house. It was very busy. One of the people that came to the open house went into the garage and pulled
Claimed it.
the automatic garage door chain release.
Yep, so it just be pulled back up.
That agent, I think, actually came back a couple of days later at the same time to show the house to somebody else where someone was in the house that had opened that garage door and they were getting ready to rob the house. So
Yeah. So
check that.
check windows. So that's a note that I had.
Yeah.
Check that, check windows. Also, the vacant word If we put it in our marketing notes, it's not always the best idea, because it just makes it a target. So if you know that it's a house in a not great area, we all know what those areas are that we can't do staring, sorry, Jim. But we can't, if you put the word vacant in the listing description that the public can see, you're creating a target that otherwise may have not been a target. A lot of times they're gonna look to see if the photos show that it's vacant, and they're gonna know anyway, but don't make it easier for people, okay?
I have a question. What's Keller Williams' policy on firearms?
Well, it doesn't matter what Keller Williams' policy is, you're in the state of Missouri.
Very true.
We have policies. Everyone be reasonable.
Yeah.
I will say, so something I will tell you about firearms, if you carry a firearm, but you have no training on firearms, I'm just as scared of you as I should be, because you have no training on firearms. If you would like suggestions on firearms training, I'm happy to help. I do not do firearms training, but I know several people that do. So, because that's a liability insurance that I am about to take off. Mr. Brown.
Sorry, Kevin, like, can you talk some about safety thoughts in the building here, or did I miss that earlier?
No, not at all. Yeah, absolutely.
Anything,
Yeah.
you made us aware of some things to think about, so. Just.
What were they? Did I say anything good?
Yeah, when we thought we might have somebody coming in.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so if you have someone, let's say, because we're in this type of job where people get mad and they have to talk to Jim, or they want to come and they demand to talk to Jim, and at times doesn't mean that they're gonna come in and they're gonna be nice. If you think, or we've had people who have gotten ex partes, when that happens, bring in a picture of them. Let us know. We want the front desk to know, because we also have active shooter type of scenarios that we have to be aware of. So, when you're in your office, know what your escape route is. If you're gonna go up the stairs and you're like, well, this is the closest staircase, but that's where someone sounds like they might be close to, know where the other, exit strategies are.
Yeah, this is kind of not related, but also kind of related. This might be something good to bring up to like Haley or anyone up in the front. I had my car broken into and my purse stolen, my passport, like my ID, everything. And someone actually found my Keller Williams card in their yard, from my purse being shaken out in their yard.
That's a great contact.
Brought all the stuff into Keller Williams, brought all my stuff back to Keller Williams that they found, but didn't leave their name or number or anything. I have no idea where they found it, no nothing. So maybe like tell Haley, or we can tell her, if someone ever drops something off for you too, to get their contact information, so
Yeah.
you know who's dropping it off to
Right.
you.
For sure.
So.
Yeah.
This walking down the hall to Jim's office, that's a bad idea. So, I mean, if somebody does that, if somebody comes in and they're upset and they say, I'm going down to his office right now. I mean, that's a 911 deal right there.
We've had that, and I've been upstairs in a situation and I looked at Landon and I said, call 911. And like, the guy was standing right there and I was like, that's it. I was like, if you don't leave, we're asking you to leave and now we're gonna trespass you. So it's your choice to leave. And I said, call 911, because I'm not bluffing at that point.
And same way
It
on.
doesn't matter, like with Adams, it doesn't matter whose office it is.
Yeah.
Nobody gets the run of the building except the agents or a client with an agent.
Right.
Well, and that's why it's so important, vendor partners that you have, that you say, oh, come in and put it in the mailbox. You can put it in the mailbox. You can drop it off there. No, you leave it with Haley at the front desk, because we don't just want random people to come in, and especially if we don't know you or what's going on. So don't ever encourage anybody just to go and say, oh, no, I know where they're at. Normally when that happens, I stop them and say, no, do they know you're coming? We have to call them. So that's one of those things of, it's not just open for everybody, just have them go to Haley, and from there, if they need Jim, we'll say, okay, great, we'll call and see if he's in, and we'll have him come up here.
Right, and then I'll get to Christina in just a second. I just want to say, if someone ever comes in here and they're just like, oh, can you tell me where Elise Riley's office is? I put a lot of people in prison over the years. Don't take them to my office. Please don't. There's only 2 that I'm worried about, but it's still 2. Christina?
I just wanted to give you guys props because everyone in the industry knows that this is the most gate-kept building in all of real estate. You guys do not let people into this office. The fact that it took me 5 years before I was even able to really be able to walk in here and not be stopped.
And we're still not sure about you.
Me too. I'm not sure about myself most of the time, but I just wanted to applaud you guys because you do a fantastic job about that.
Well, and it's come from scenarios that we've had to be
They get
smarter
timid
about,
in you.
and Lise and our other agents who have been former PD have really helped us and shown us like the different things that we need to look at, because at the end of the day, it's the safety of everybody else that we have to look out for. And we can joke about, you know, and Elise said, pull their eyes out. Like, it's one of those things of like, it's funny until you actually need to know, hey, I need to do this. I need to be this aggressive in this situation. And so if we can have these conversations more and just more outside of Realtor Safety Month, and we can help at least one of you feel more safe, that's where we've hit our jobs. Like, that's what we need to do. You post and say, come see me at my open house today. You're putting it out on Facebook. Well, guess what? If someone's watching your Facebook, you're telling all those people to come see you at this location during this time. I will be here normally by yourself. And I have cookies or whatever else y'all have. And you can't yes, and it still happens. I've seen it. So it's one of those things of you just have to be very cautious of your surrounding. And that's one of the very hard parts about social media is that we share so much of our lives and we share all the places that we go, and we normally have a routine. When I worked at the baseball stadium and I had to leave late at night, I would switch up my route home every month because I knew when I was leaving a dark location, I took one route home. But if I continued to do that and someone kept following and they knew where I was going to live. And so it's things like that you have to be more cautious of if what your routines are and who knows about those routines.
And you don't know what's going on in other people's lives too.
I was gonna say, too, don't let appearances fool you, because the person that was walking down the hall that we started to call 911 on is a licensed realtor.
There he is. Still.
He was coming down to do some duking with me, and I mean, it would have been a good situation anyway, but he was still a licensed realtor at a competing company. And he was upset.
Yes.
I was ready.
So who had the upper hand, you or him?
Jim.
Still like, hello, I'm right here.
Hey, I may be old, but I'll still kick your ass.
Yeah, he's telling you. Is that the quote of the team meeting right there?
I have 3 hands, so I want to get through everybody. Tim, go ahead.
The 15-second rule.
Yeah.
This is about mindset, right? This is about getting your mind right, taking the time to get your mind right. And it's about a habit. Do it every single time. I was taught by an FBI agent. When you go to your car, you walk to the front of your car, you walk around the passenger side, you're walking around the back, you're looking in the back window. Every FBI agent fails the test of the person hiding in the back seat. And those are law enforcement people, right?
What, me? I'm prior.
No, I'm just saying, these are people who know and are aware. And if we go in empty houses, guess what? Your car's empty all the time.
Well,
Right?
lock your cars on the way.
If
Lock
you,
your cars on the way. and
if you
then-
walk around that car, you won't back into your dog, you won't run over your kid's bicycle, you won't, all that kind of stuff.
One of my rules is I never wear a necklace or a scarf or anything like that around my neck unless I know the person that I'm showing a house to.
Great idea, great idea. Danielle, and then
I'm kind of actually messing with this. I was told by one of my police officer friends to only press my unlock button once because it will only unlock your driver's side if you press it multiple times, and when the other doors become unlocked, then you put yourself at risk.
most cars are like that. Like my car, it's just one and they all unlock. So, but newer models, a lot of times you'll have, that's an updated safety feature. That's a really, really wonderful one.
Another thing, is not whenever people leave things on your window shield or on your, like,
Right.
something like that, I never look at it. I'm just like, oh, too bad. And just go. Cause that's a way that they use to distract you so that you take the time to look at it and then
You'll grab
you're
it, you'll
off
look at
guard
it.
and.
Yep, and mark it that way.
So when I do an open house, which we all know is rare, I put my keys in here, maybe too much information, but I keep my keys on me.
Right.
Park in,
Yeah.
park in the street, and then, don't be embarrassed to leave the house. Like, don't feel, like, if somebody walks in that you think is off, go stand on the porch. Like, pretend you're doing something. I'm fluffing the pillows on the bench, whatever. Go stand outside.
Excuse yourself and take a call. No one's gonna be surprised you're a real estate agent.
I'll
for God's
say,
sake.
I've never had something like directly happen that I felt unsafe, but I have been in open houses or at showings where I see someone weird walking on the sidewalk or chilling in the backyard. I had a house in the ghetto that was like a shithole. That was sketch. I had like literal crackheads come knock on the door, ask for the owner. So like, there's been times I just go sit in my car and lock it and I'll call Mark or whatever, and even if I'm supposed to be somewhere, just cause I'm like, hey, you just wanna talk for a second? That's kinda creeped out right now. Just give me a couple minutes, so just.
Another thing, if you get somewhere and you're uncomfortable, you don't have to do the showing. You are not obligated to open the door. If they make you feel uncomfortable, you can say, hey, I have a partner that's coming. I don't do showings by myself. I'm so sorry. We're gonna have to wait for so-and-so and just say, hey, I need someone to post in the Facebook page. GSBOR. You can post in GSBOR. It does not have to be KW. I guarantee you, whoever the hostess agent that sees it is gonna come running. And it's not gonna be a bad thing if 30 people show up. Oh my God, you're so loud. It's popularity contest. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say no. Trust your gut. At the end of the day, people know if something is off. You have that intuition for a reason. Trust your gut. If you think it's not a good situation and you don't like, if you show up and you're like, so you have an ankle monitor, that's cute. You don't have, there's nothing that says you have to go over and get the lockbox open and let them in. There's no obligation.
And I'm guilty as the
Yeah.
next person, especially when I'm leaving the office. And we've talked about, and if you don't know, what had happened with Trey when he was leaving the office at 6 o'clock at night.
Pretty good.
I'm leaving, like when I'm leaving the office, I'm finishing up for the day, sending my last message, sending my last email on the phone, walking out the door in broad daylight, still not aware of my surroundings. And so for those of you that didn't know, 3 weeks ago, 6 o'clock at night, Trey actually was on the phone with me and said, oh, there's kind of this weird guy out in the parking lot. I'm gonna run inside though and grab my laptop and come back out. 3 minutes in, out, still on the phone, left his truck unlocked because it was in and out, grabbed his laptop. On the way out, the guy was already in his truck, trying to steal it. And then come to find out after Trey had confronted him, he had a knife this big in his pocket. 6 o'clock at night, broad daylight. So there's things like that that we are always so distracted, even if it's not when we're going to show or at an open house, we're running to Target or wherever, that we don't take the time to just end what we need to get into where we need to go. So we're safe. So even here at the market center, and that's something I have to be better about, is like when I say I'm leaving, I need to put my phone away, hands-free, have my keys ready to go and get into my car. Because it can happen anywhere. We've seen things on Welcome to Springfield page of even at Target, what's been going on, and people scouting out your vehicles too. So
People will target this place because they think we make a ton of money. And because we're all super rich, wealthy people. I had an open house that I had to go to and my wife drives the 20, we have all of our vehicles paid off, not trying to show off, but it's a great idea. Just that. So
I got a 2012 Ford Explorer.
So we have a 2012 Subaru, which, you know, that tracks, but anyway, so. Never be asked to speak, it kind of rings again.
So does Bree, so does Bree.
So, I did open house. It was in a sketchy area that I was like, everybody, all of the feedback is the area sucks, the area sucks, the area sucks. I wanted to do an open house because I'm like, you know, I'll be fine. You know, but I also am trained and I have probably too much confidence in my ability. You know, I couldn't fit back into my police uniform if I had to right now. But the thing is that I drove her car. Not, you know, I drove her car because I didn't want people to think that like I could have driven my really nice newer truck, but I didn't, which also tracks, but anyway, so I parked the car right, just how I train everybody else to park the car. It's in the street. That way I give people the opportunity to park in the driveway if they so choose, which is great, right? But I'm not showing off. I'm doing what I can to make it look like, I'm like, I am a terrible agent. Are you sure you want me to be your representation? This seller is screwed. You should buy it though. You know, like, I still was holding it open and doing the purpose of it, but I wanted to showcase, I didn't want to display anything, if that makes sense. Yeah. So trust your gut. If you see something that's off, trust it, report it. If you see something in our parking lot, we're gonna be targeted too. So trust your gut, report it, let people know. Don't go to places alone that you don't know people. Just don't.
My only one is like, there's at least 2 days a week, I want somebody to throw me in the trunk and take me.
Well,
you've not called me.
Yeah,
I will absolutely throw you.
If anyone wants to try that, you can contact Elise. Does anybody have any final questions? Okay, thank you, Elise. As a reminder, no team meeting next week. And then if you are attending Bold, remember we will have people from KWRI taking videos, photos, all of that. So you've been warned in case, whatever you would like to wear. But seriously, this is something we're wanting to educate you on, because the more we can have these conversations, the more you become aware in those situations. And so it's, again, you never know when you're gonna need it. And we hope that in the moment you feel equipped, and hopefully a little bit more equipped after today's conversation of what you're wearing, how you're parking, how you're navigating those situations. Like Elise said, reach out. And if you're not on a team, you have a team here, you know, call Mike, call myself, call Haley, whatever you need. I know some agents that they send calendar invites to people and they put the address on there so other people are aware and they'll make sure someone's in the office if they need a call. So establish a code word, whatever you need. So that way, if you ever had to call somebody, they knew what was going on. Just, what? Pineapples, whatever you'd like to have, whatever the fun code word is, but just be prepared. So thank you all so much for joining us today and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Hey, if anyone wants to sign Mark Stewart's birthday card, please do.
It's really safe, it's a real